we have to understand BNPL is like a knife, where if you use well, it serves your purpose. But if you use in the wrong manner, that will harm you later, if not now. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Thank you very much for having me here today. BNPL, or what we call buy now pay later, has been one of the talk of the day, where people buying things using BNPL for that matter. So these benefit those who, for example, have salaried way of having things, so they don't have cash in hand to pay everything, but they may be able to pay over time or on installment or gradual basis, we call it. So the question that arises is whether BNPL is acceptable from Shariah point of view. The conventional way of doing BNPL may having a problem, but if you do based on the Shariah manner, it will be acceptable provided that it follow all the Shariah principles. There are some models over in doing BNPL Islamic. There are two main models that we use in the market for the time being. The first one is what we call interest-free loan. The second one is by having what we call the tawarruk structure. Bank Negara Malaysia has issued their own resolution regarding the use of BNPL. And they mentioned that BNPL will be acceptable from Shariah point of view as long as two things are fulfilled. The first one, it used the appropriate Shariah contract with all the valid conditions and transaction. The second one, BNPL is only used for Shariah compliant purposes. If these two principles are followed, then BNPL will be Shariah compliant from Shariah point of view. So come the question, what are the potential structures happening in the market? The first structure is what we call the interest-free loan structure, where the buyer will purchase from the merchant. The bank will provide payment to the merchant, and then the client will pay to the bank over the time with interest-free loan. And the bank, from bank point of view, they don't take any interest on the amount paid to the client. I mean, advance to the merchant for the sake of the client. However, they will get in terms of the merchant fees, where the merchant will pay them on that particular amount. So that will be the benefit from the bank. From the bank's and client point of view, the loan is given interest-free. This is the first structure that we see in the market. The second structure, that using tawarruk structure, which buy and sell contract. The tawarruk structure, we have no problem from Shariah point of view at all. It is acceptable and there is no problem with that. Whether you buy on what we call on markup or non-markup, but the point is that at the end of the day, client will get the things and has to pay the bank with the actual payment that bank pay to the merchant. The interest-free loan, there are some debate among the scholars whether it is acceptable or not. But generally, for those who accept the interest-free loan structure, provided that do not pay extra to the bank, it is acceptable. Trading is something acceptable in Shariah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran, wa ahallallahu al-bay'a wa harrama riba. Allah permitted trade, Allah permits trade and prohibits riba. So when we buy things using the Shariah compliant way, buying the Shariah compliant item, we pay on loan basis, then we pay no extra payment on that particular matter. Those who accept the interest-free loan structure, they say it is acceptable, provided that you don't charge any extra for that matter. So the bank, when charge the client, they don't charge any extra on the loan. From that point of view, for those who allow this product or this structure is Shariah compliant. But for those who do the tawarruk structure, that one, I don't see any Shariah scholars who disagree with that particular structure, provided that it follows all the Shariah principle explained by Central Bank of Malaysia or SSC of Central Bank. That in a nutshell, the use of BNPL in the market, which use the interest-free loan structure and also the potential tawarruk structure as accepted by Central Bank of Malaysia and also SC of Malaysia. Yes, what we need to ensure that when we do BNPL, the price must be certain upfront. It must be fixed. For example, you buy a thing at the price of 3,000, it has to be fixed 3,000. And when, say, for example, you have to pay the bank 3,000 again, there shall be no interest incurred in if you pay late for that matter. That is not acceptable from Shariah for you. So the 3,000 that you buy the thing, you pay also the bank 3,000, no extra charge in terms of late payment. That is acceptable from Shariah point of view. However, say for example, the bank has to incur costs because of your late payment. The bank has to send you notice, the bank has to call you, the bank has to do a lot of things, which is giving the bank actual cost for that particular services. So the bank has the right to charge you over that particular things. So means that whatever that you late in the payment, the bank shall be able to reimburse back to themselves on whatever actual payment, actual cost that they have to pay for the sake of urging you to pay back the amount. So whatever they send a letter to you, they have the right to charge for that particular letter. If say, for example, they have to make call to you, then they have the right to charge on the amount that they pay for the call, and that is something acceptable from Sharia point of view. This is what we call in Sharia has direct costs. The actual cost that they have to incur for you to pay that. But if you delay in the payment, the bank shall have no right whatsoever to charge you anything for that. We have to look from two angles. Okay, if the underlying that they purchase is non-compliant, then whatever that the bank receive from that particular merchant is not compliant. Because now, say for example, assuming customer come and want to purchase liquor, for example. So the bank provide the NPL, just example, okay, to purchase liquor. Liquor is non-compliant from Sharia point of view. So when the bank give BNPL, advance their money as loan to the customer, this is not acceptable. And when the bank charge merchant because of the service that they render, this is also non-compliant. Why? Because the bank has rendered services for the client to do non-Sharia compliant things. But if, say for example, assuming that customer want to purchase a laptop, I mean BNPL normally we do on small items and the amount is not so high. A laptop, iPad, from Sharia point of view, is Sharia compliant, acceptable from Sharia point of view. I mean, the notes and everything from Sharia point of view, acceptable. So the bank advance the money to the merchant, paying on behalf of the customer, and the bank shall recover back the money from the customer, interest-free loan. Okay, for those who accept in that particular structure, they said that when the bank charge the merchant for that particular payment, when they pay to the merchant and they recover from the client, and when the bank charge from the merchant some payment, some fees, for example, that fees is acceptable because this is for the services that the bank render to the merchant for that matter, providing the facility to the customer, maybe perhaps from time to time do some marketing here and there. So for them to get fees from that particular services is acceptable. From Sharia point of view, this is what we call al-ujrah. They charge the service for whatever service that they render. In Sharia, when you do something for someone, you render a service for someone, it is your right to charge some fees for the services. Same applied here as well. The bank charge the merchant for the real services that they give to the merchant in the BNPL arrangement in totality. This is for those who accept the BNPL on interest-free loan base. But if you do tawarruk structure, that no discussion on the acceptability of this particular transaction. The BNPL, if we follow all the Sharia principle and Sharia ruling, different from conventional credit card and also different from conventional personal loan. In what matter they are different? Even though people may come and argue, the effect is the same. In personal loan, I also defer the payment. In BNPL, following the Sharia principle, I also defer the loan. What the difference between the two? The main difference is that a personal conventional loan, the bank will charge you interest. Okay, so if say for example you get personal loan for 5,000, the bank will charge you markup interest, for example 500 ringgit. So instead of you take 5,000 as a payment, you have to pay 5,500. So that 500 is interest, which is not China compliant for that matter. What different from conventional card? Conventional credit card also the same way. If say for example you purchase credit card of 200 ringgit, if you pay beyond the period allowing to you, for example 21 days, beyond that you have to pay the bank interest on the amount that you have not settled. That's what make it non-compliant, because it involves the word interest. It's not about the word instruction. Also the bank charge you more for that. That is not acceptable from a Shariah point of view. But if you do BNPL and you follow the guideline that I mentioned just now, there's no interest charged on that particular things. The thing that you buy is Shariah compliant. That BNPL is compliant because it does not involve interest in the process. So that what differentiate BNPL and personal loan and also conventional credit card for that matter. The word is bank will charge interest over the personal loan and also the credit card. But in case of BNPL, following Shariah principle, the bank will not charge you more in terms of providing an amount for you to do the BNPL. The question may come if, say, for example, after the bank availed the customer the BNPL, the customer has a responsibility to pay the bank over staggered payment or installment payment, and the customer defaulted in the payment. And you can see that some of Islamic BNPL, they said that the bank shall charge you some charge fees or late payment charge, they call it. However, the amount shall go to charity. Will that be Shariah compliant for that matter or not? To answer that, we need some deliberation. From Shariah point of view, when you in debt to someone, you are indebted to someone, you have the responsibility to pay him according to the payment schedule. That is responsibility. That's why in Quran, Allah mentioned when you owe someone money, faktubu, write it down. Why? So everybody knows what is their liability, what is responsibility in terms of what amount to be paid, the payment time. So everybody will stick to what is their responsibility to do. That is very important. So when you delay or you don't pay according to the schedule that you want to pay, you have been in breach of the contract. That is the most important. People don't understand that. However, from Shariah point of view, if the customer delay in the payment of the debt, the bank is not allowed to charge interest. Otherwise, they are to charge extra amount. Otherwise, they are the same like conventional. So there may be a situation in which you have the money, but you don't want to pay because you know Islamic BNPL don't charge more even if you delay. So that will be a problem of moral debt. You have the money, you don't want to pay because you know if I pay late, even the bank would not charge me anything. That's why the scholars come with another instrument to prevent, to deter the debtor from non-payment, what they call al-iltizam bitabarru. Okay. Based on that mechanism, it comes from two angles. The first one is that in Sharia, Allah Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Matlul ghani zulm." Matlul ghani zulm. Those who able to pay but refuse to pay, he has them unjust to the creditor, to the one that he owes. So we have to address that part because the non-payment to that particular creditor that has bring harm and damages to the creditor. We have to prevent this man from doing that. Otherwise, it's not fair to creditor. I give you money, you promise me to pay, you don't want to pay me even though you have money because you know that I will not charge you extra. This is a not acceptable. So we have to address that particular part. That's why the one that we practice now is not only in Malaysia, everywhere in the world, we put a clause stated in the document. If the debtor delay in the payment, he has to pay the creditor certain late payment charge. Up to then, you say, what is different between this and conventional? The difference is after that. In conventional, whatever that the creditor charge you more, they will take to themselves. But in Islamic BNPL, whatever that the creditor take from that late payment charge, that money shall go to charity. Why? Because the purpose is not for them to take the money for themselves, but the purpose is to deter the creditor from defaulting. That's why the money that they take under the supervision of their Shariah advisors, this money has to go to charity. So in that manner, from the debtor point of view, they know if I default in the payment, I still have to pay. Okay, so they will not do harm to the creditor by not paying. But for creditor themselves, the money will go to charity. They will not take the money for themselves because the purpose is to deter the debtor from defaulting in the payment. The creditor, as I mentioned just now, shall have the right to only recover the actual loss of that particular transaction. The remaining amount shall go to charity. That what differentiate late payment charge in Islamic BNPL and conventional interest charged by the conventional BNPL. Having discussed on the BNPL, we have to understand one simple issue. Everybody should live within his limit. BNPL is just a facility to enable us or to facilitate us in our life.
means that whatever that we want to do, we have to assess our own capabilities. Okay, one of the great Caliph of Islam, Umar bin Abdul Aziz, he mentioned one time, Rahimallah mra'an arifa qad kharafa qadra nafsi. May Allah bless a person who knows his limit. Okay, so we need to understand our limit. Not because we have BNPL, we just buy whatever that we want to buy using BNPL. At the end of the time, when we have to pay, we have a problem. We stuck because we live beyond our means. So my advice to those who want to do BNPL, we have to understand BNPL is like a knife, where if you use well, it serves your purpose. But if you use in the wrong manner, that will harm you later, if not now. How for us to really assess that? We have to understand our capabilities. Use PNPL wisely for the purpose of facilitating our life, not for the purpose of incurring debt beyond our limit and capability. So my simple advice, use BNPL Islamic wisely. First, don't use the NPL conventional. Only do for BNPL Islamic. Buy only thing that comply to the Shariah. And last but not least, ensure that when you do buy under BNPL, you back it within your limit and your capabilities, and you know that it's your capability on paying all the debt you have incurred under PNPL. This are not only for PNPL, it's applicable to our all normal financial life. How we manage our financial, we should base on what we able to live within our own limit and means. Thank you very much.